Get started on time so that we can get our business taken care of. But I want to welcome everyone that is here today, and I want to thank Spring Lake for hosting this. Do you have anything you'd like to say, Mayor Anthony?
Thank you all for coming, and please don't let that food stay in this building. We have to ride a snow plate, so take it all with you. Lunchtime is coming, it's gonna have to stay.
And we appreciate our special guests that are here this evening or this morning. What we'll do is we'll hopefully we'll have some more come in, and we'll take some time to introduce those that will not be on our program. And I welcome Fort Bragg. As always, we appreciate you being here, and we also appreciate the fact that you're not only our good neighbors, but you're our defenders and protectors. So just know that you're welcome anytime, and we appreciate your being here especially. At this time, I'm going to ask Mayor Charles McLaurin if he would give us our invitation. Okay.
Heavenly Father, we ask you to lay your protective hand on this nation, Lord, on this world in troubled times, Lord. Be with the men and women that defend this nation, both here and abroad. As elected officials, Lord, let us always hold a high standard to do what's right in the way of for our citizens and the many things. We all ask these things in thy name before I say amen.
Amen. At this time, do we have any additions or deletions from our agenda? If not, do I have a motion to approve our agenda?
Motion.
I have a motion from Mayor Anthony and a second from Mayor Turpin. Okay, approval of minutes. We did get the minutes by email, and we did all the minutes now you should have. And if there's anything that needs to be corrected, is there anyone that has any corrections to our minutes? Hearing none, we have a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve, Mayor McLaurin, a second.
Second.
Okay, Mayor Anthony. And the main thing too that I want you to know about the minutes, and for the mayors that are here, we did have a request from, and this is something new to many of our clerks, that Hope Mills is very familiar with this process. Sometimes people will request information because they have a right to it because of the statutes that say that anything that electeds do, they can request information on. So we're an elected body. And so what happened is all the clerks received a request. The request was taken care of between our secretary and Secretary Starling. What they did is got everything together and gave that to the person that requested it. It is a trying time because you have to do so much work to get that together. But I do want you to know that I am very proud that our Mayor's Coalition has reached the level that people want to know what we're doing. So that's good news. At this time, we do have with us, and this is something too I think is very important. Spring Lake and Hope Mills have been doing some great things with FTCC. And I did invite Dr. Sorrells this morning because I wanted everyone to get an opportunity to meet him also. But in Dr. Sorrell's place, we did get the next best of Chris. Sometimes I find that the best thing because they're the ones that I've worked with very closely with the partnerships that we have in Hope Mills. But this time I'd like to recognize Dr. Murtis Worth, Dr. Jolie Marsh, and they're going to talk to us about the FTC programs.
Good morning, and thank you for allowing us to come out this morning. I'm Murtis Worth, and as you know, at Fayetteville Tech, we've had some recent changeover in leadership, and with Dr. King retiring at the first of the year, and Dr. Mark Sorrells is now our new president, and I have been at Fayetteville Tech for quite a while, serving as the Dean of Nursing, and now I'm serving as the Senior Vice President of Academic and Student Services. So we could stay here all morning and talk to you about everything that Fayetteville Tech offers, and we will just pitch that we do provide over 86 different focused programs that leads out to over 286 diplomas, certificates, degrees through the college. But this morning we're going to focus on our HOPE program, which is a collaboration between our NC Works, our Cumberland County Commissioners, and to try and really drive our workforce here locally and to support the needs of our employers. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Marsh and let her highlight the HOPE program for you.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Mark.
So when we were creating the HOPE program, some of the things that we continuously value within our community is community input as far as what we need to serve underrepresented and undereducated populations or individuals who are seeking to become more gainfully employed with family-sustaining wages or increase their employability skills by giving them extra industry credentials. So the partnership that we created with HOPE, of course, is with FTCC Cumberland County, who provided a grant for us to assist us to offset some of the training costs. Mid-Carolina Council of Government, formerly known as COG, and their partnership with NC Works, as well as private and nonprofit businesses who are providing valuable input as far as what their employment needs are for the projected future. The purpose of this is to increase social and economic mobility. So what we are doing is we are taking a group of individuals, anybody who is interested in skilling up or is in need of a job that earns family-sustaining wages. Through that, we provide industry-recognized credentials that are transferable across the nation. We target 50% of the population in Cumberland County who has some college degree and a high school diploma. And this is a form of an accelerated workforce training program, so this differs from your associate's degree to your programs. This is a short-term training where they're in and out in less than about 200 hours. So when we created that, what are the benefits to this subgroup of students who are interested in this program? Some of the issues that we've seen in the past with short-term workforce trainings is the time frame in which we offer them, and the individuals who need this training also need to earn living wages so they can continue paying car payments, rent. And with that, one of the things that we did was we embedded a work-based learning or OJT component within the course so that individuals can learn and earn. So while they're in class for 40 hours a week, they will receive a stipend once they get to 48 hours or more within the educational component. This will offset some of the cost that they, or the earnings that they will not achieve while they're in an educational training program. Also, in doing this, we connect with employers. We've worked with the town of Hope Mills, got input from nonprofits of jobs that they need and what the entry-level employment skills are needed to build a program. From there, we build the program. We hone in on programs that are tied to industry credentials, OSHA, NCCER, electrical core credentials. Why? Because we want to ensure that we're not only providing a training to the individuals, we're providing them with a credential that they can use. Additionally to that, we help them, the student, build up a resume, help them with interview skills, and then what we do is we connect them to employers for the OJT component. So they are working while they're getting an education. What is the benefit to the employers? FTCC is committed to providing a strong vetting process to ensure that the students who are entering into these programs are truly vested and committed into getting the education and committing the OJT. From that, we provide intense case management so that if an individual needs additional resources through mental health or any additional needs that they need outside of the educational entity, we know that up front and we can provide resources to them throughout the training program. Additionally, we provide career planning and career assessments to make sure that we are gearing them towards the right career and that they are truly interested and capable of completing the training and becoming a valued employee. Additionally, we create a talent pool for the employer. So what we are doing is through the vetting process, we're ensuring that the students who are completing these programs meet the needs, the entry-level needs to gain employment with the partnering companies. Then what we do is we ensure that they align, their mission aligns with the students that we will be sending them through the OJT. While they are completing the on-the-job training, they are students, they are not employees. Therefore, the employee gets to see the sub-skills that the student has and ensures that they align with their mission and that they're going to work within their company and that it will be a successful partnership between the employer and the student. Additionally, after the student successfully completes, the goal is for them to not only get an industry credential, but to be employed. So once they complete their OJT, or their on-the-job training, and they complete their educational skills, they are to be hired by a partnering company within the HOPE program. From there, NC Works and the county funding that was issued through a grant will pay up to $15 or 50% of the wages of that employee through a formal apprenticeship, and this can continue for 6 months. The student onboard process. So what does it look like when we bring in a student? We meet with the student, we have case managers who work with the student, assess their needs. We use the formalized career assessment known as Velocity. From there, we assess what their goals are, their commitment level. We do make sure that they understand what it's going to be a part of the HOPE program, such as they must be here 40 hours a week, attendance. We assess any of their individual needs. If an individual does need assistance with housing or a referral to a third-party resource, we also have partners who are working with us on the back end to ensure that those needs are met. The goal is to ensure that the student is successful while they are in the training and in the OJT. From there, we work with Skills to Succeed to build up their resume and help them with interview skills, all while they are in the course. We do assign mentors for them, and we allow them to work with employees. So essentially it would be a formalized form of draft days where the employers are to come in and meet the employee or the students while they are in training before they start the OJT. What do our courses look like? So there is a basic day design and an evening design. A student must go through 48 hours of content training. In the construction trades, it may be basic OSHA. You may have them climb a ladder. Whatever the employer says they want us to train them on 48 hours before they hit the floor for the on-the-job training, we ensure we embed in our content up front. Then from there, the student will spend half the day doing the educational training and the other half of the day will be with the employer working through an assigned work-based learning or OJT component. At that time, the student is eligible for a stipend for the work that they have completed during the OJT. They receive payment every other week to make sure that they have funds to complete the course and pay for anything that they need while they're not actually gainfully employed. On the back end, we continue doing the training. Most of these trainings are anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks, depending on what content is being taught. Some of your courses may require more training, such as electrical. And then from there, once the course and the work-based learning is complete, the work-based learning is normally 60 hours. From there, they will then work with the employer to become gainfully employed, and the official apprenticeship or OJT with the employer begins. That is a paid OJT where the employer hires them, and then there is a reimbursement process up to 50% of the wages for the employer. If the employee is there for up to 6 months, that wage reimbursement would be there, and that is all covered through a county grant. The caveat with that is each employer must be registered through the NC Works system and be approved in order to participate in this. We also offer night classes. Those night classes are a little bit longer in design because of the time frame in which we offer them. Usually they're 6 to 10 at night. The process is still the same. They go through 48 hours of coursework on the front end, and then from there they begin the OJT and then the educational training. One of the things that we've done with night classes is we work with the employers to see if there's either availability at night for them to complete the work, or if there's availability on the weekends or during the day for them to come in and do the OJT. Some of the individuals that we actually have in our night classes are currently employed, but they're looking to skill up. And so with that, we are cognizant of placements with them with the employer. These are examples of some of the courses that we have already ran with the content, the number of hours. Of course, the fees are covered either through NC Works, so our students would register through NC Works as dislocated workers and receive WIOA funding, or there is funding through our local county grant to cover the registration and any fee associated with the course. This is the outcomes of our electrical course. With this, they do receive an NCCER, National Construction Consortium Education Research credential, and it just kind of outlines the course costs and the commitment that the college is willing to pay for the student. In our plumbing course, we have ran successfully at our Hope Mills location. And all this to say that we are seeking interested areas to run additional programs and skill sets. Our property maintenance tech program we have successfully ran multiple times with the Fayetteville Housing Authority. So individuals who are living within an apartment complex throughout the Fayetteville metro area are eligible to work. And the design was set up very much like the Hope design, and the students would earn a learning stipend, and then on the back end, the Fayetteville Housing Authority has brought them on and hired them as employees. Out of our last class, the majority were women. And this is one of our courses, our Successful Hope courses for wood framing that has successfully ended, and that was in last fall. Are there any questions?
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well done. You like want to applause or something?
I absolutely agree. I'm super excited for the whole project to come to Spring Lake. We've been working very, very closely with Dr. Price and FTCC, and so we're stoked that this program is coming to Spring Lake.
And to caveat, our caveat with that is that Southfield High School was where we did this, and what we have found is it's not only an advantage, but we have a whole target youth that graduated during COVID that are floundering. And so what we're looking at is trying to tap into this, giving them a trade, because that's where we're finding in Hope Mills, with all the construction going on, every day somebody's looking for an electrician, a plumber, someone to help in construction. So that's why we're hoping that offering it right there in town, that'll make a big difference. But thank you, and I will tell you, there's summerscapes programs. I have to mention that too. We also partner in the summertime, and they do some great things. We've done some things at Southview Middle School and also within our Parks and Rec. So we appreciate everything that's happening with Hope Mills and Fayetteville Tech, and also the new Trojan Field. That's, it's right inside Fayetteville city limits, but if you go right across the line, you're in our MIA. So just know that we claim it too, but thank you so much. Thank you. Next, we have with us today from Fort Bragg, we have Deputy Commanding General from 18th Airborne Corps, Menace. I said that right? Yes. And we also have with him Brigadier General Tully. And we'd just like to turn it over to them and let them give you some information about what's happening at Fort Liberty.
Awesome. Right? Yeah. Mayor Warner, thanks. Mayor Anthony, thanks for hosting us. I know generous smile every time I see you and your friends, the other mayors. I just want to say thanks for allowing us to be here. I know Patricia back there helped set this up.
Yes, she did.
She got up like 4:30, so thank you so much for making this all possible. And she's, sounds like a great person to work with, so I'm glad you hire great people. So it's awesome. On behalf of General Donahue, I just want to say, thanks for allowing us to come be a part of your community. We suffered a big loss yesterday, as you probably saw, from 101st. And, he's been involved in trying to help care for those folks. So he sends us regrets for being here, hopefully he'll understand. But we lost 9 soldiers yesterday during a helicopter accident. And, we certainly understand the dangers when we're forward, but, often, unfortunately lose most soldiers back here to accidents and other things. So, just keep all those families in your thoughts and prayers. And we appreciate the prayer to, think about the people that help protect our nation. I just want to say thanks. As we get ready to redesignate Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty, certainly a lot of mixed feelings, right? Nostalgia. My kids were born here. The birth certificate says Fort Bragg. Daddy, will that change? And no. The proud history that we've all enjoyed, the thousands and thousands of soldiers that deployed from here, the families that lost their kids fighting with us, people that served with us, certainly will never be lost. I think as we looked at it, we were very, and I was, while the boss was away, last year fighting or helping the Ukrainians fight off the Russians. We sat with you, the community, to determine, what we should call Fort Bragg as we moved ahead. And I was really interested to watch how many great ex-soldiers or citizens that we could have named Fort Bragg after. And there were so many different groups, and we were just, we couldn't go wrong with any name. But we had all these camps. And I'll say that as you look at it, the only thing that was sort of unified the group, there was, somebody said, hey, should it be something that's, awesome to everybody. And we came up with a history of Point Liberty and everything that had been done in this area. You know, I think General McNeil and others helped us come up with that name. It seemed to be something that just unified the community. That, hey, if we have to change the name and redesignate, then, you know, a quality that we all could, you know, embrace was readily accepted. So I appreciate that change is sometimes difficult. You know, as I said, you know, it's been Fort Bragg, this community in Cumberland County has been awesome. And I think that's the part that we get to. It won't change, right? This great community we have, even if we change the name. So I tell, you know, people ask me, hey, what do you think? I said, I think it's awesome. I still get to live it in Cumberland County with these great people. And I think that's a big part of what we hope to, you know, try to continue to do with you. You know, we are busy, you know, deployed over the last year in support of the Ukrainian effort in supporting NATO. You know, keeps our folks busy, our families busy. You know, the spouse is gone. And I'm always, you know, uplifted by everything I just heard about FTCC and all the things that the folks in Cumberland County offer us. So I just want to say, you know, thanks on behalf of General Donahue and Son Major Holland again for all that you do to welcome our family. Again, majority of our families live in your communities. They go to your schools, our schools. And we're just incredibly grateful that you welcome us and also sometimes empathetically help us, you know, get through our days as we're, you know, dealing with the stress of, you know, for the family a lot of times what we do. So I just wanted to say thanks. You know, myself, I always then felt, you know, tried to feel responsible to be a part of the community. I lived in Pine Valley, and my kids, you know, went to a wonderful school, and Kelly and I, if I could get out there to play kickball with the kids or be a part of that school, Kelly would be in the cafeteria trying to help, you know, a stressed out teacher. But I thought that was very powerful that your schools welcomed us in. Because I've been to some communities, unfortunately, you know, Kelly and I would try to do the same thing, to be a part of the schools, and you know, maybe not as sort of military aware communities that sometimes we're shy. But I think community helps raise kids, right? And you know, all the kids I see, schools that where Kelly and I have been, where the parents are either encouraged or a part of the school, they thrive, right? So you know, I think that the involvement that you've allowed us to be is very good for the kids. So thank you for that. You know, the programs that you have for our soldiers, you know, I can't explain how grateful we are for Fayetteville State, FTCC, for our spouses, the things that you do. You know, we just need help continuing to try to communicate those opportunities. And so we take lead from you on stuff we could do on campus or on base to help tell folks about those opportunities. So thanks for all that you do. And, you know, elected officials, thanks for what you do. I was living in Pine Valley. I was out at a community watch event. All of a sudden I got elected to be the Pine Valley president. Right before 9/11, by the way. And so then, you know, it's hard to cover down on my duties for that community with everything else, and no pay, by the way. And I know you guys don't get paid a lot, so I recognize that most of this is a part-time job, and that, you know, I understand that, you know, most of the stuff that you do for us is volunteer. You know, I know we have some awesome paid professionals that help run these awesome communities, but I know the leadership is mostly part-time work, so thank you for your volunteerism and your selfless service. It really makes a difference, and we're just really happy to be here. Lastly, you know, we were just talking amongst some folks up here. General Donahue is really, really interested in getting a chance to just see you socially and be a part of our community with you. We have a spring social coming up. If you haven't got an invite, it's an oversight on our part, so we apologize for that. Do we know when the date is on that, John?
April the 11th.
Is it that soon? Coming up on the 11th? Might be. It's a Thursday, 2 Thursdays from now. But if we haven't got you on the list, it's an absolute oversight on our part. So he can't wait to have a soda or a beer with you and just meet you. You know, we try to get him an opportunity to let his hair down, and I hope that you'll join him there. He knows just being able to speak with you folks and shake your hand and be with you is what he hopes to be able to do. Lastly, I'm leaving. General Tully will be here. He's going to be partnered with John Wilcox to assist with all the stuff that happens on Garrison in your community. And again, I just wanted to say thanks for all that you've done for me, my family. Connie and I have been here for 14 years, on and off. Con, how long have you been here?
Not as nearly.
I know, children going to school here.
Well, yeah, so we spent 5 years here. My youngest daughter graduated, went to Fayetteville Academy, and then, but yeah, we love the area. We just got back, and like I was telling Kia earlier, you know, we drove up into the Fort Bragg the other day, and it was, my wife was like, it feels like we're just coming home. And so it's a really good feeling to come back. So my thanks to all of you, and look
That's
forward
right.
to work with you.
Yeah, my daughter's just getting, well, she's married to a soldier, so they're PCSing here. She just moved in, and she's getting her household goods today.
No.
Yeah, that's always fun, right? Yeah, so thanks again for all you do, and again, I'm gonna turn over to John. We'll talk a little bit about some stuff going on, of course, with the redesignation. But again, on behalf of the boss, thanks so much for what you do for our community.
Thank you.
Well, good morning again, everybody, and it's great to see everybody and have breakfast again, Mary Anthony. Thanks for the hospitality, and thanks for being a part of the military community, to all of you, but so proud to stand here in your headquarters, as it were, and we were just talking earlier about the importance of the military community and how Mayor Anthony is really representative, I think, of everything Fort Bragg aspires to be, which is tied in. She came here as a soldier, served her nation proudly, and decided she wanted to get out and then serve the community proudly. So thank you for what
How
you
many
do.
people are military background?
Right?
Rats, right? Thank you for your service, guys.
So what I want to talk to you a little bit about is exactly that. It's community and community engagement, and what we, Fort Bragg, want to do to continue to open the gates as wide as we are able to welcome our community back in. And I think we've made some really great strides in that regard. But it starts with, and I'm going to pick up where General Menace just left off, the story of liberty, and the story of the redesignation, which is only 63 days away. So if we can go to the next slide, please.
Sorry, is there a clicker?
Oh, is there a clicker? Never mind. I have a
Who owns this slide?
He can't be trained.
Frank turned it over.
That's right, that's right.
I thought we licensed you.
I said you said it, and then magically the slide changed. So, Sunset Liberty March. We talked a little bit about this last time, but I want to talk more in specifics now, because now, I think last time I mentioned we were looking at a day to do the redesignation between the 1st and the 3rd of June, whatever day that was. As luck would have it, we picked the 2nd of June to redesignate the base. On the 1st of June, we're going to conduct the first Sunset Liberty March. I talked a little bit about the inspiration for this, which was the Wall River Bridge and the event that happens there, run by veterans every single evening, honored veteran of the day, followed by many guests that join them, march across that bridge, honoring the 43 paratroopers that passed away in the taking of that bridge during the Battle of Nijmegen. And we wanted to capture that same essence and deliver the same product here, but put our own Fort Liberty twist on it as well. A lot of what we've heard about is that some of the resistance in the name change has come in the form of, well, we're forgetting our history, or we're forgetting who we were. I assure you that is absolutely not the case. In fact, what we're doing here is putting significant effort and money into doing what we should have been doing from the very beginning, which is honoring our past, our losses, those who've come to serve with us every single night. And so what we're going to do, as you can tell from the top left pictures there, is we're putting in on what is now called Liberty Park, what was at one point called Bragg Boulevard, starting around Randolph and, down at Honeycutt and moving towards Randolph Street, if you could use those as sort of markers. It's about a half a mile march. We'll be doing those every night. Along the way, we will have lighted bollards that will light up in sequence, lighting the way for the honored veteran and hopefully Gold Star member of the day. We're trying to work both of those at the same time. And of course, all of the guests from off post, all of our guests that want to come join us on this march every single night, honoring our past, honoring who we are, but always, always marching towards liberty. Doing what we've been doing on this installation since 1918. So, what we invite you to come do is be a participative member of this event. We've asked our local Veterans Association to help us run the Sunset Liberty March. So the Cumberland County Veterans Association along with a few other veterans associations, are currently mulling through exactly how we manage this concurrently between the military and the veterans associations. But the biggest aspect of this that I want to emphasize is this is a community event. This is not a military event. In fact, we want it to be a community-led event. We've asked some help to set up a website for sign-up. That's being worked right now with one of our great veterans who live in the community. And the bottom line is, on the 1st, we will begin marching to liberty every single night, rain or shine, 365 days a year. And we hope that you'll come join us. Next slide, please.
You got a quick.
Oh, shoot. Sorry. Sorry, I'll do that one more time. So speaking of community events, what I wanted to focus on was, hey, we've got a couple of really great events. We're getting into the spring season where we really start to set up some outstanding community events that are open to the community. Now, we're doing our best to make sure that we can keep things safe on the post, so there are some restrictions that we have to keep in place. Trusted Traveler is not set to return, if that's a program that you're familiar with. But the bottom line is, when you come on post, we will expect you to stay safe and not bring firearms, and hopefully have the right people with the right security, I guess, without felonies in the vehicle with you. But as you look to come to these events, the biggest one, of course, is the spring fair that's coming up in May the 3rd to May the 14th. Some of you may have come to join us already at that, but the cost has not increased at all. We're going to keep it the same cost as before. And the same company that's done that now for the last about 15 years is going to come back on and be a part of that. So please come join us. We had a great time last year, and I look forward to another great one. And of course, followed by the 4th of July event. Some of you were able to join us last time. We had 65,000 people come join us on the parade day. We're hoping to make that, as far as the fire marshal knows, we want to go 65,000 again, that's what we kept at. But we'd love to have more guests come join us. We have a great musical artist whose name I can't mention yet, but she is a Grammy-winning artist. All she wants to do is have some fun. She might think it's her greatest mistake to not have come here had she chosen otherwise, but I can't say who she is, though, whoever she is. Maybe coming from Santa Monica Boulevard. Every day is a winding road, man. You never know. Right. So we hope that you will come join us, and it's going to be a fantastic event for the entire community. And we'll try to put the same protocols in place we had last time that allowed a maximum number of people to come. Also understand it was really hot last time, too, so we'll try to provide a little bit more overhead cover and shade. Of course, All-American Week is coming up for all the 82nd veterans in the room, so May 22nd to the 25th, that's on its way. And again, want to make sure all of our guests come on and join us safely, but we'll absolutely be opening the gates as wide open as we're able to invite guests on. And then I won't say next slide this time. Okay, I talked a little bit last time about the range roads and some of the work we're putting into this. So we're going to send out a schedule to the community because we recognize that while these roads were technically not built to be primary roads of ingress and egress from the base, they have essentially become that now. So if you live in certain parts, certainly on the south side or north side of this part of the post, you will be using these as a main thoroughfare. But we're going to be taking the entire ring road system and transferring that to the North Carolina Department of Transportation over the next 3 to 4 years via the intergovernmental service agreement that we have with the NCDOT. In order to do that, we've got to put a significant investment of money into these road systems and ensure that they are ready to hand over and get them up to the appropriate levels that the NCDOT would require us. This is going to start, we're still working on the specifics, but this will start on Manchester Road, which is the northern road, work its way over to King, and then down through Plank, and we'll finish off on the eastern sides of these roads. So there will be some road closures, and this will affect traffic flow through your areas, but we're going to reach out early to your offices and make sure that you understand what the impacts are going to be in terms of traffic to Cumberland County. And but we want to give you a heads up now that this is coming. We won't start road construction until the beginning of next year is when we'll start actual road construction, but culvert work is already going in place right now on some of the culverts that you'll see on the map there. So I'm happy to talk about that a little bit more if you would like to. So this is
we're looking for your help. We've been
working with the state, you know, that's a big expense to John's budget. And although we're a federally funded team, he's trying to squeeze as much out to the interior roads. Well, these are public roads, majority. You know, a lot of military traffic on there, but there's, you know, most of the civilian traffic going to work or coming to Bragg. You know, he suggests that we need a louder voice to North Carolina to help us with those roads. Because that's a big expense. As you know, there's a lot of mileage of road. Certainly there's an agreement to help us in the future, but you know, the TAG, General Hunt thinks that we should express our requirement to the state. And so he's asked us to just sort of, when you get a chance to talk to our state reps, to particularly the public service roads, to help John out. So I just ask you, if you get the chance, to help us voice that concern.
Great, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so before I hand off to the Sergeant Major, we're going to talk a little bit about EF&P, which is a topic near and dear to both of our hearts because we have kids with special needs. I do want to highlight the great relationship that we do have with FTCC in particular, but with a lot of our local colleges. Fort Bragg has the #1 transition assistance program in the military, and that's not just braggadocio. That's numbers for backing that up. That is primarily because of the relationship that we have with this community right here. What that means is that when soldiers leave, or when any service member that serves on Fort Bragg leaves, if they can't find a job and they file for unemployment, that comes back to the base for the numbers. And so that's how we track our success level of making sure that our soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines depart with good, solid, livable employment. That primarily works because of the great relationships we've got with our local colleges, with the local community here, and our best day is when we watch a soldier, sailor, airman, and Marine transition out of the military and the very next day put on a suit and tie or work in a uniform in another fashion, either in this community or back on the installation. So if we can keep the talent here and continue to grow it here, that's a great day for us. And so I wanted to extend my very sincere thanks, especially to the FTCC, but to all of our local colleges, sponsors, and participants in the Soldier for Life Transition Assistance Program. Thanks for making that a great program. So we're going to transition real quick and talk to the Sergeant Major. We'll talk about EF&P.
Morning, everyone. Morning. Great to see everyone. From our last time we met to this time, the Colonel would introduce me as an incoming guy, but I am officially that guy. I am here. And I'm here to stand, maybe I'm announcing my candidacy right now. First and foremost, I want to acknowledge, you know, as it's the end of the month, but every day is a cornerstone, but the women that are in here is Women's History Month, so if you could give everyone a round of applause. Right. Each of you have played a vital part in American history and into this community's history. So I thank you, every one of you all, for what you do on a daily basis, so thank you. As you can see from FTC, that is a prime example of what I like to call, when people say thank you for your service, this is a way to pay it forward to our service members who wear the uniform as they transition out of the military, to lower the veteran unemployment. So could we do more? Can we do more? Is there always room for improvement? Yes, there always is. And I ask of you, if you can, please find it in your heart to find some type of program, some type of developmental thing where we can still put our service members and thank them really for their service and help them transition into getting employment as they transition out. One of the things that I wanted to tell you is that maybe I am a little biased because, you know, when as a 19-year-old kid, when I came across All-American, not knowing what I was getting myself into, and I got off on the All-American Expressway and I was coming down Gruber Road and I saw like all these different color berets that was going on. And at that point, for a 19-year-old kid who had no purpose in life, to know that I was about to join a varsity team, that was beyond what I actually thought about. And actually, when I grew into the roles of being a leader, I knew that first and foremost that this installation has been a part of our nation's freedoms for a very, very long time. And to me, every time you turn on the news, someone from this installation has fought for our nation. So to me, what better way to describe all of our efforts from the beginning of time to present You know, we've all taken oaths of enlistment. We all have paid tributes to every NCO creed or ethos. And one of the things that is near and dear to my heart is a line that says, "Never leave a fallen comrade." And what is the best way to do that? Is to brand our installation by liberty, because everybody has fought for our nation's liberty, fought for other countries to be liberated, all across Europe, all across the globe. So that's what it actually means to me. And I truly, truly appreciate everyone who has taken off this uniform and put your current uniform to continue to serve our soldiers and our families and this community. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart what you do on a daily basis. So what does that mean? We need your help. We really need your help. So right now, I think we launched it about 2 days ago on Fort Bragg NWR website. We are looking for input from the community on what the branding, what is the logo, what should Fort Liberty logo look like? So we have a logo contest out right now on Fort Bragg NWR website. We're asking the community to brand it. Show us what you think that this installation should look like. Now, there's no cash prizes now. There ain't no cash prizes. Let me tell you that now. You're not going to the Bahamas and nothing like that. Okay? But what you're getting is you're getting a piece of history. You're making your mark on history on what this installation should look like, because every time you come across the All-American Gate or any of the entrance gates, that logo will be present on that sign. So as you continue on your legacy of your history, you can tell your sons, your daughters, your grandkids, whatever the case may be, that was you that made that logo, that you branded that installation. So we're asking for help, so please, FTC, anyone, you know, we're looking for anybody that can help us out with that. And I believe it's May 15th? 21 is the cutoff for that. But if you want more insight, please go to the Fort Bragg NWR's website, and it'll give you all basically the task condition standards on that as well. Now, near and dear to my heart, as I tell people, normally when you see any type of commercial and things of that nature, you'll see a typical American family. But every American family that's in the service has a different makeup per se. For me, I have a 13-year-old nonverbal son, and all of his mannerisms comes through a speech device. And one of the things that I think we probably need to collaborate on, or unless you have a training glide path for some of your educators, is from what I saw from the teachers who were interacting with my son, they were very nervous and very scared about using a device because I think they were scared about repercussions because it's an expensive device. If it broke, the teacher thought they had to pay for it. Some of them didn't like change. Some of them didn't want to try to get to learn it, right? But for me, the most important thing of what makes what makes every family great is the centerpiece of what makes everything great. It's our children. Our children is what makes everything great. That's the centerpiece of what makes an American family. And every American family is different. So for me, my son was it was very hard for him to adapt and to integrate into school with his teachers, because the teachers didn't want to learn the device. Right, and I would say a lot of the things, if it's a device provided by the military, because I got mine through TRICARE, it's okay. If you break it, I can send it back. You know, but I think we just need to reassure our educators that you need to adapt to change and try to get more certifications within our education system for that. And every one of you from all counties, again, I appreciate what you do for our children on a daily basis. And I would say, as the General Minister, it's not for the money. You guys are doing it because you really love what you do and you're passionate about what you do. And every day you make the lives different for our children. So I truly, truly appreciate it, especially our exceptional family members. So thank you for what you do.
So last thing before we go, we had a great conversation with your and just about every other county in the surrounding area, the education directors, and the bottom line was we realize we have a huge outreach in terms of impact for military kids and military affiliated kids across schools in every county all the way down to Scotland and as far north as you can think. I mean, so what we want to do is emphasize where we can help you provide resources to your educators, to the kids in your schools. Purple Star program is a great entryway to get those resources and get access to those resources. We won't go deep into them right now because I think we're over time. But I wanted to emphasize that there are programs out there, not just limited to schools, but certainly collaborative programs that we can continue to work with you here within Cumberland County and the other surrounding counties to sponsor and work on community programs together. Purple Star program is specifically pointed towards resources for schools with military affiliated kids, and more details can be found down there with the point of contact. Thank you very much for the time today, and thanks for the clicker and giving me a
So, got an alibi, April 21 is the cutoff for the lawyer.
And thank you again for coming and giving us information. And we would be interested in more information about the Purple Star program, so if we can get that out, if you'll send an email, we can send it to all the mayors. But the main thing is that's something that it'll impact the children in our community. So as we start April, this is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we're celebrated with the Child Advocacy Center in Cumberland County. And it's really important that anything we can do for children and anything that we can help with our military child especially. So thank you. Thank you for being here today. We appreciate it. The next thing we have, and we're going to have County Commissioner Chair Tony Stewart here. I'm not sure why she's not here. I know Mayor Anthony said she would not be available this morning. The main thing that we want to say about the reason for this meeting being held today was in anticipation that we would need to get together and talk about the interlocal sales tax agreement. I'm very excited to say that it's been signed. We did get an extension. There's been some misunderstanding with our community because those that started giving out information didn't realize the reason why we had to do what we had to do. Number one is if our county, and they are going ad valorem, what this amounts to is that the way that money, sales tax is distributed, we as mayors and small communities, we would not be receiving the money that we've been receiving since probably 2010. And all this came about 2004. Well, what all this came about was trying to do some equal distribution when a situation occurred where there was a lot of, I hate to say February's Big Bang, but that was part of it. What happened was the county was losing a lot of sales tax by the way that the money was being distributed. So what they did is they agreed that they would share, instead of federal community getting every bit of the money with this new boundaries that they had created. And so what happened was each small town, based on per capita, in other words, number of people, we were given a certain amount of money. Now, granted, had we been wise stewards, maybe what we would have done is put that in savings and not added it to our budget. But if somebody gives you money and you think it's going to last forever, and every 2 years new boards come in, oftentimes what happens, it gets lost in the numbers. You just know you're getting that money. So just know that in the case of Hope Mills and Spring Lake, we had the largest amount to lose. And then also what was happening with all of our small towns is many of them, that money was a big part of their everyday budget. So we had to we requested an extension for 5 years. The reason that we negotiated down to 2 years was because we knew that they were ready to vote March 15th. And what they were going to vote was to go ad valorem this year, which would mean that next year's budget we were going to be impacted. What we've got is an agreement to extend the current distribution. We're not going to see the growth, which means that every year, and this has been true for all of us, every year we've received a little bit more than the year before because our sales tax really keeps rising. We've never had to go backwards. We've always got a little more. So this year's amount, this 2022 year that they're basing it on, is the amount that we'll get through June 30th, 2025. At that time, they will be going ad valorem, which means we've got 2 years basically to adjust our budgets and figure out how we're going to replace those dollars. And we've already started in Hope Mills with our current budget, looking at ways. My town manager's here, Chancellor McLaughlin, he was very wise as we started our budget process this year. How can we make some cuts? How can we do something so that we will start the process to eliminate things that we can, or maybe come up with other sources for funding. But basically, I wanted to thank the county commissioners, because when Mayor McLaurin and I went in to talk to them for the Mayor's Coalition, what we found was that they kept saying, what are you giving us? Because we're going to gain a lot if we go ad valorem. And so goodwill was the main thing. But I think the clincher was when we sent them how this impacts everyone else, not federal, not Hope Mills, not Spring Lake, how it impacts our other communities if we do this year based on COVID, hurricanes, and all the stuff that's happened. So I wanted to thank the county commissioners for their willingness to give us an extension, and also thank the mayors, because I believe, again, as being all together for our community, this one voice was able to get this agreement taken care of. So that's the sales tax. Economic development update, I'll turn over to Ron Patton, and did want to tell you that Justin Ombre with the COG, or with Mid-Carolina Council of Governments, he expressed his desire to be here today, but he is actually in a meeting in Raleigh. Okay, turn over to Ron. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everybody. Rob Patton with FCEDC. I've got 5 for you. You all should have, I gave you 2 handouts, the first of which covers some grants that are out there for the communities. If you're interested in them, if you need any assistance with them, please let us know. The second, which coincides with the Sergeant Major's cutoff for the 21st, on the 20th, we are hosting ECU, Economic Development Seminar. Basically, it's what's economic development and why does it matter? And we're limited to 25 spots. It's in our space. Get some knowledge, get some free chow, spend some time together, and figure out how we can help push our communities getting better. It is limited to 25, so please RSVP on that one. It's going to be a great opportunity for everybody. We would like to see all the towns represented. 3 other updates for you. We really have had some great success getting our community out to those outside the community. By that, what do I mean? So in the last week, we've had 2 different groups of developers that are coming in that are looking to take down some land to put up some buildings. So these aren't just projects, these are folks that are wanting to come in and invest their own money to get businesses to come to our area. We really think we're gonna have some success with these folks, one of which is probably gonna take down about 159 acres and put up 2 very large facilities. And I'll give you another example of success. Wednesday, next week, I've got a team coming in, very classified on who they are. They won't even tell us. They're from the West Coast, but they're looking at putting up a 2 million square foot distribution facility, and that would equate to 1,000 jobs. We are very excited about that one. We're going to be only one of the few communities that could even compete for that. They reached out directly to us. That didn't come through the state, didn't come through the county. That came straight to us. So that's just an example of the successes we're having. We're getting it out there. We're really trying to make a difference. Last update, we are knee-deep in looking for new product. I know I've worked with several of the mayors on what's out there, where can we find new product. We are actively looking to put together between 1,000 to 2,000 acres. If we can find that, that's a mega site that we can qualify for those VinFast, the Wolfspeed, the Toyotas. We've got a lot of the infrastructure that we need, but we're actively looking, and we think we've got 2 potentials that would really put us on the map. That would be transformational for this, not just the county, but for the region. So we're really working. So if anybody knows landowners, hears of anything, please let us know, because we really want to be competitive for that next big project. May not happen overnight, may take a couple of years to develop it. The state's really working it. We're cautiously optimistic that we're going to be one of the finalists for the mega site for the state. But again, any help that y'all can help us with to find those sites, please let us know, because we really want a massive win for the community. Subject to any questions? Yes, ma'am.
How many acres did you say?
So typically, if you talk mega sites, 1,000 is really where you're looking for acres. We can work, several hundred, but so the mega site up in that Toyota and VinFast took down, those are about 1,500 acres, just to put it in perspective. So
So what about, is there something like that borders Cumberland in another county?
it's a great question. We're looking for those two right now. We actually are looking more, and there's one potential Robeson Cumberland kind of straddles the border. But I know there's a couple Harnett, Cumberland kind of potentially in that area. There's some options there too. We definitely would do a joint park if that option is available. Yes. Any other questions? Awesome. Thank you so much.
And if you did get the email from Fayetteville Cumberland Economic Development, if we've signed up. We think that's important. So to the mayors, it would be an opportunity to get some more information, but East Carolina is sponsoring it. But that's important too. And one brief thing I was going to mention to you that we're trying to put together is the history of the Mayor's Coalition. And we know that during Commissioner Breed Blackwell's term, and he actually came off the county commissioners in 2010. Prior to that time, he came up with the idea that what we would do is the mayors would meet, and really the way they were meeting is the commissioners were coming to the community to meet with the community. And then the plan came was, how about instead of doing all these individual meetings, that what we'll do is have the mayors come together. And from that, it just progressed. When I came on board as mayor in 2011, at that time, what had happened was we had I think, a transition. I think Debbie Chu had been the chairman, and then Chris Ray became chairman. And then after that, Cliff Turpin, and then we're where we are today. But the idea is we want to know a little bit more. Breeden Black was who I've been trying to find out some information from. And what we're hoping to do is kind of put those things together so we can explain where we came from and how we got to where we are today. But in saying that, we do have a member that has been with us and has done so much to get us to where we are today. And I think, like I said, my first mayor's meeting, it was just a matter of looking like we came together to talk about each of our towns and share the good news, and everybody's proud of what they do. But he had this idea that what we would do is we would create a forum so that we could bring in people from our community to give us information, and not only that, to make us more vocal in our responsibility as mayor. So, Mayor Cliff Turpin, you were our vice chair from 2011 to 2017. You were chairman from 2017 to 2022. And I understand that he is, this November, he will probably be at the beach because he's retiring from his work and he's retiring from politics. And what I'm excited to tell you is that we support you because you've done so much for us. I know it's probably going to be sad for us, but we appreciate you. We have a special plaque for you for recognition and appreciation of your years of service, not only to Cumberland County Schools and to Falcon and Falcon's Children's Home, but what you've done for this group to make us what we are today. And we owe it all to you, because when you started as chairman, the first thing you said was you contacted Amy Cannon and Shelley Shutt, and you said, we want to work together and we want to build this organization so that we can have a voice. We have logo, we have stationery. All right, guess where that came from? Right over there. They came up, Sally Shutt, I can tell you, and Amy Cannon, they worked together to come up with something that represented our county and each of our communities. We didn't have this prior to Mayor Turpin, so thank you from the bottom of my heart, but thank you for what you've done for Cumberland County, for our mayors, and for everything else you do and every day for Falcon's Children's Home. That's another place that I know is dear to your heart, but it's also a place that is dear to many of our hearts if we have had any contact with. So, sir, thank you. And I know you have something to say.
It's been a long ride. But it's been a wonderful opportunity to serve my community, and it started way back in the Boy Scouts. I'm an Eagle Scout, and my daddy was a mayor. He sent me to Washington workshop one summer, and to teach me about government. And in that meeting was, I was a teenager, and we were at the women's college on, I think it's Marymount, and there was people from all over the country. And the man stood up and said that the people that leave this meeting, and it was for 3 weeks, 80% of them will be our next generation of leaders. And never did I dream that I'd be American. Didn't have that aspiration. But as our Heavenly Father sees fit for us, there's things that we don't know about. And I'm continually excited about what's happening in Cumberland County. We've certainly come a long way, and I know we've got a long way to go. And with y'all's wonderful help and support, it'll happen. And that was a vision of mine. We just didn't come to this table and we talk about for mowing the grass and painting the town hall. We need to be forming relationships with our other community leaders. So when I go and see Rob in a restaurant one evening and his family, I know who he is, and I know who to call for economic development. I'm not just in this room and don't know all you and what it's all about. But the good Lord saw fit to let me live a little longer. I'm just over a heart attack major in September, and I just got through with rehab. So, and you're right. If you give me the opportunity, I will stand and talk. But I love you all, and I appreciate everything, and thank you for the opportunity, and continue to keep going on and moving on. And we appreciate everything.
Thank you so much. Mayor Joe Dixon of Wade, he is actually in the hospital. He suffered this is another stroke that he has had. I did speak with his wife. I actually saw his wife going into the hospital, and she was just letting me know he would not be here today, but I do ask that you keep him in your prayers. I do not know if he's still in the hospital. She was supposed to give me a call last night, but my assumption is he's yes, sir?
Good morning. I'm George Strader, Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Dixon did come home last night.
Great.
I don't know his status, but thank God he's back home.
Very good.
And he asked me to remind everyone about the Founders Day celebration coming up June 3rd, the first Saturday in June. It's a major event for the town of Wade, a parade, food, and all kinds of activities for families and fellowship. But hopefully he's doing fine. Keep him in your prayers, please.
Thank you. And you should have come up here to this table so we know you were representing us. And tell me your name again, because I know our secretary is trying to get your name down.
George Strader, S-T-R-A-T-E-R.
Thank you. Thank you for that update. I appreciate that. All right, now we'll start with, and please, if you will, introduce anybody that's with you. Today I have with me Commissioner Joanne Scarola. She actually is a retired veteran and serves on our board. And then I have also with us our interim town manager, Chancellor McLaughlin, who is our economic development planner before this title. And of course, he's been very involved with federal economic development, so he's very familiar. But I'll turn it over to Mayor Anthony.
Awesome. Well, good morning again. Thank you all for coming. It is very exciting to host something like this in Spring Lake. We haven't had a chance to bring the community out like this together for a very long time. So thank you so much for making the drive out here and coming to be with us on today. Well, I have some extremely exciting news about the town of Spring Lake. We just received our financial update from the Local Government Commission, and I am ecstatic. I am so proud and humbled to say that we are back at a financially stable place. Budgets are balanced. Our general funds, all of our funds across the board are not just stable, but strong. Our reserves are strong. And so I want to make sure I acknowledge our staff for working so hard and so diligent to make sure that they stayed within budget. They stayed under budget. They worked so hard with so little resources. We have absolute superheroes working out here in Spring Lake. What they have been able to accomplish in just short of 2 years is remarkable. So I want to thank them. I do want to acknowledge our staff. Our interim town manager is here, Mr. Jason Williams. Our police chief is back there, Chief Spillman. Our town clerk is here. And we have our inspections and planning department here, Ms. Lynn Hickman. And we have our administrative assistant over there in the corner, Mr. Bernard. We also have a few board members here. Alderwoman Sonia Cooper and Alderwoman Adrian Thompson. Thank you guys for your support. I hope we can do this over and over again, and we welcome you to come back out because now we have some funds and we can actually start operating as a municipality. See, we got food. We actually pay for food. So you guys don't understand how big that is when you're on penny purchase orders. When I was elected, they said we can't buy paper clips. I got business cards yesterday. That's phenomenal. So again, it's so funny, but it's either laugh or cry. And right now, we finally got to the position where we, can slap high fives. I didn't say Carly's name. I'm sorry. Carly Autry. That's why you've got people always having
Somebody gives you this
little nudge, say, hey, this too. But again, thank you all for coming. And again, I want to reiterate, do not leave that food back there. Take it, Chris, on. Okay? Thank you so
And
much.
congratulations. We've been supporting you, very proud of your progress,
Thank you.
and you got us all behind you, so good luck.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, next, Ms. Burnett.
All right. Godwin is still doing very well. On the 27th of this month, we passed the ordinance for the town housing development. So we're gonna have that, and we also we had to annex the property that's the house is being built on. Part of it was in the city limit, and part of it was not in the city limit. So we annexed it all into the city limit. So we did all of that at one time, one meeting. I thought I was doing a good thing, but we had a lot of people that didn't want no change. They didn't want no change. They want government to stay like this. But we're gonna have those about 114, 115 houses. That's gonna help. I know that we're gonna go to the Avalon Tap. This will help fill that gap. I mean, it ain't gonna be a whole lot, but it'll be something. And we got our water project. It's gonna be completed in July. I started that. I know everybody know how long I've been working on that. But that's gonna be completed in July. And we're not gonna be able to serve everybody because when we first started, I had to go around and get a household survey, find out how much people didn't want to have it. And then it won't come back to Godwin, it was going to someplace in Raleigh. But we finally got enough people to get the project. Now we started laying pipe. Everybody wants water. We just can't accommodate it because we don't have enough contingency money to cover everybody. But we're gonna do the best we can. But everybody wants water now. We started off with 49, and now we're up to about 95. Wow. But we can't do all of it. So we're gonna do what we can. We finalized it yesterday. So we took out the ones that we could, and the ones we couldn't, we just can't do it. We don't have enough money. But maybe the next time we come around wanting something, everybody sign up on time. Maybe we won't run into it. But Godwin is doing fairly well now.
Thank you.
We were eagerly awaiting the completion of I-95 project like everybody else. Think we've become a statistical region. Every day we're having a traffic accident, and our firefighters and our EMT people are all just ready to see it end. But it's going to be an asset for our community, and if you ever ride down 95 and look left or right, and you'll see and pay attention to where water is, and you'll see a pond here or a pond there, a big lake. That was through the 95 original project. They would take dirt from landowners and build this highway. And I say all that in nostalgia, but that started with Eisenhower. And can you imagine the commerce and your family vacations to Disneyland and all that that's taken you and I all these years on that highway? And then, of course, now we're upgrading it, and think about what's gonna happen in the future. I said in the Mayor's Coalition meeting probably 5 or 6 years ago, when Trump started the space program, I said, wouldn't that be something if Cumberland County could get the first chapter of that space program? Of course, it fell on deaf ears. But if you don't mention it, it won't happen. So you have to keep pushing, and you gotta keep your hands on the plow and see things that'll happen, and then eventually things do move forward. So it's been a trouble time sitting through it and watching it expand, but it's gonna be great things that are gonna come to Cumberland County because of this expansion. And I just hope I live long enough to see some of it. So, but it's always good to be here, and thank you for everything. Thank you for your hard work. And I failed to mention my clerk. If I hadn't had her through all these years, and she's been by my side, and I couldn't have made it without her. And I apologize for not mentioning it sooner, but she's been a wonderful asset to me, and she's been with me. I've been on the board 34 years, and she's been there 24 of them. 26. And I do thank you, and I appreciate you.
And
Oh, Rhodes' Pond, yeah. That project is finally in the latter stages of being completed. And we've met with Ms. Wheatley, and we've begged her for some more money for some picnic shelters and some benches and that kind of thing. But Rhodes' Pond is gonna be a wonderful park and rec asset for our citizens in Cumberland County in the next year or so when we finally get it complete. And for you fishermen, it'll be a paradise. And I don't know about you gator hunters. They say there's some gators on the back here. I'm gonna ride by and I'm gonna wave at you and I'm gonna blow the horn because I don't fish. But I'm glad to see it didn't happen for our recreational side of things.
I was gonna say, my clerk, which was the secretary, Jane Starling, she sent me a message. She's not feeling well. In fact, she's not at work today, so she wanted me to know that. But I also have a plaque for her, recognizing her for coming in as secretary. And she, of course, now we have Elizabeth Bass from Eastover that has agreed. I told her she had the quickest orientation of any clerk we've had to take over. And it's all been via email and conversations. And so thank you for stepping in and being our secretary. And Lyndon.
Well, we've been working with Cumberland County Emergency Management, and we're just finishing a rehab program. And we've taken out a couple of the large beaver dams that was causing flooding in the area. And now the challenge is to work with wildlife to relocate the beavers before they build the dams back. and we're also working with Cumberland County with the North Central land use plan that's going on. And we've finished our audit. I think everybody's audits were running late this year, but we finished ours. We had a clean audit, and we had a large festival in the park last weekend. So our park has been well used.
today, Stan Crumpler, one of our council members, he's also chairman of the zoning board in Cumberland County, and Elizabeth Bass, who you mentioned a while ago. We're glad to have you with us today. We're opening our ballpark tomorrow in the morning, weather permitting, so you're talking about rain and maybe high winds. So we made a lot of improvements there. We're expecting about 600 kids to be involved in our park program this year. I want to say a shout out to Federal Tech, because in today's college education can run it like it do for somewhere $80,000 a year. And education at FTCC with some of these things are great jobs for what turns out of it. That's one of the greatest things we have in Cumberland County. Fort Liberty, I think that word is a uniter. You didn't pick one word for somebody, you picked it it's inclusive. It means everybody. So I think that was important. I want to say about the Roaches Pond, I think that's going to be a real asset for Cumberland County and the 3 counties that surround that area. That's a great addition. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Well, like I said, with this mayor's coalition, it's been one of those opportunities for us to share about our communities, and likewise, Hope Mills is growing. There's a lot of things happening there, and we're very fortunate in that, yes, we've got road widenings and they're taking down trees, and you know, yesterday they took down one that was 125 years old, and how do I know that? Somebody counted the rings and let me know, so that they were upset. But the thing is, with progress and with change, and we have to learn to adapt to it. And so there is a lot happening out our way. The link to I-295 on Golfview Blacksbridge Road is open, and it connects that road over to Parkton Road. And all this linkage is taking place, and we're hoping pretty soon we'll learn another route to take so they don't get bogged down in what people complain about as the traffic on Main Street in Hope Mills. But a lot of development, a lot of growth, and very proud of our staff and the things that they're doing and the many projects that we have that are coming to fruition. This has been a very productive 2 years. Lots of things have happened that were projects that have been on the books since 2010, 2011, and so we're seeing things happening in Hope Mills. But I also wanted to recognize Jason Brady. Jason Brady and our sons graduated from high school and college together, and Jason Brady has been very involved in our community in Hope Mills, but he also is writing over there and taking pictures. So thank you for coming today and reporting about our Mayor's Coalition. We appreciate it. And is there anything else for the good of the group? Any other announcements we need to make or anything? Our next meeting is in August, and that date is, I don't have it in front of me, but
We're hosting that, and I'll be in Alaska, so I won't be there for that.
well, my goodness.
We had it planned for
You
about
should
6
take us
months.
with you.
That's
Yes.
the meeting in Alaska.
Yes, sir.
Are you still having your trade street event tomorrow?
Right now, the last I heard was yes. I know there's, just like in the anticipation with Eastover, there's some concern about the wind and the weather, so they were going to, I think, make an announcement. They're watching the news, so, but the event is supposed to be on Trade Street as of right now. Okay. Anything else for the good of the group? And again, our next meeting, and we will make sure, I ask Colonel Wilcox, I asked them to keep us informed, and what we'll do is send out emails to you to keep you informed about the events at Fort Bragg. We do want to participate, especially in that Sunset March, any of you that can. And anything else between now and then. This is earlier than normal for us. We usually meet in May. So we're not scheduling another meeting until August unless something were to arise that we needed to. So with that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion.
Okay, got a motion second, and thank you so much for being here, and we will, happy Easter, happy spring break, happy 4th of July, and we'll see, and Memorial Day, and we'll see you in August.